Hey astronauts, this is Brandi and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. So if this is your first time here, I want to say welcome. My name is Brandi, as I've said before, and I like to combine tarot and astrology to give you real world insights, practical predictions, so you can feel empowered to make good decisions for yourself. Now, I have 15 years of experience with tarot and astrology, and so I do want to give the preference by saying, hey, if you're in a sensitive place, if you are looking at tarot to seek validation, or maybe you need a little pick-me-up, I am not the reader for you. I just have seen too much with these cards to just tell you what you want to hear, okay? But I will tell you what I see through the cards, and I will do my best to help you feel empowered. Now, today's reading is Your Love Life by next Christmas. If I've timed this right, this video should be coming out on Christmas. And if you celebrate Christmas, then Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, you know, Happy Holidays, or, you know, whatever it is that you celebrate, I'm wishing you a great time. But you can still watch this reading because it is where your love life will be by next Christmas. You don't necessarily need to celebrate Christmas to have a love life. And so we have 5 piles to choose from, and we're going to be looking at, you know, will you be single? Will you be dating? Will you be in a relationship? You know, who's this person coming towards you? If someone is coming towards you, we're going to get into all of that. But first, I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are interested in getting a private reading from me, link can be found in the description bar below. The sale should still be going on by the time I have this video up, but you know, go ahead and check the description bar to see if my sale is still active. That is right. There should be a discount on private readings. And if you don't want to get a private reading from me, you can always just go live, ask me a question. I go live during the week, and also during the lives, sometimes I'll do the astrology and talk about different transits coming up. I'm a transit queen, guys, and I love nakshatras as well. This is Astro-Tarot Research. And then also I do a weekly look ahead, a weekly forecast. And if you like those type of forecasts, then you might want to become a member, because I also do the monthly forecast, and I do like to do a lot of experimentation, or at least I'm trying to do more experimentation when it comes to my stargazers on the memberships. So that is what I have for you. I had to do all the talking and promote myself. But let's get into these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey, pal number 1, let's get into Your Love Life by next Christmas. We have the Apprentice of Clouds, Ambition. We have the King of Swords. Interesting. 2 sword cards so far. We have the 4 of Swords. More swords. We have the Ace of Pentacles, but reverse, following the swords. And we have Mars and Saturn. All right. So, pile number 1. I'm not going to lie, there's some intense energy going on here when it comes to the realm of love. So, let's get into this. Are you single? Are you in a relationship? What's going on? I think for this particular pile, it can go 50-50. And the reason I say that is because when we talk about the Apprentice of Clouds, which is basically the Page of Swords, the Page of Swords isn't necessarily in a committed spot right now. The pages are all about exploration. They're all about something new. They're all about exploring. They're not committed to something. And even if they are, it's very light. You know, it's kind of like when you first enter college and you're trying to figure out your major. That's very like Page of Swords type of energy. Yeah, there's some people who are very clear and very certain on what they want, but there's a lot of people who change that up. And so I feel like it's half and half for some of you, where some of you are feeling like you're exploring a relationship more, and that's what this Page of Swords energy is, while others of you are still on the dating scene. I know, very ambiguous, but for this particular pal, I got to split it 50-50. It's just the message coming in. And part of the reason I'm splitting it 50-50 also is because we have this King of Swords energy. And the King of Swords, he's someone who's settled down. He's in a relationship. He's locked in. And this is part of the reason I feel like some of you are, one, you're in a relationship. Two, you're single, but you have a strong prospect. Like you have someone in mind or someone you might be dating. And three, if you know, for some reason you don't have any of that, this sort of represents that you are at least considering or thinking about dating. You know, like seriously. Your mind is moving towards that direction. You have some ambitions towards being in a relationship, for sure. So if we look at who's coming towards you in terms of their personality, I generally get the King of Swords to be somebody very smart, very talented, multi-talented even. Just the people that I've seen represented by the King of Swords. Maybe a little bit goofy when it comes to the area of love and romance. But for the most part, I generally think when I see the King of Swords, their heart is in the right place. I feel like this person is very, I don't want to say whimsical, but like maybe like kind of very silly. Like they like to tell a lot of jokes and stuff like that. Especially when we talk about the King of Swords. We're talking about people who have great with words, who tell puns, who try to be clever. Like these are all the vibes of like the King of Swords. And so you have someone who has a way with words, you know, they're very charming, and that way they are very interesting to talk to. They keep you engaged. You never run out of things to say. If you're a person who's constantly looking for mental stimulation, for example, some people, they like to always be talking. Other people, they prefer to sit in silence. But the King of Swords, he's not one to sit in silence. Especially next to that Apprentice of Clouds. This person is very conversational. They're a bit of a talker, okay? So I do want to say they're a yapper. They like talking. It is what it is. All right? But I do want to say, generally when we see all these swords here, it does represent a level of honesty. Now, don't get me wrong. One thing as a tarot reader I have seen, and as an astrologer, not everyone likes honesty. You know, not everyone is a fan of it. They'll say so. But then if you don't say what they want you to say, or if they hear something they don't want to hear, it can be very upsetting for them. So hopefully you have a strong stomach for the truth. Just throwing that out there when it comes to this person's personality. For those of you who are dealing with someone, for some of you who are in a relationship, for those of you who are considering being with someone seriously, and even those who will be single by this time, you know, next year, this is definitely showing that you're attracting this type of energy towards you. And if we're talking about looks-wise, King of Swords is generally going to be someone who, you know, it goes half and half, but I'll say this. Overall, it's going to be somebody who has a mature look, for sure. And I want to say this is on the After Tarot deck. So the King of Swords is a bit more relaxed here. He's not as stern. He's got his little hawk there. His facial expression is still very serious. And so you might be looking at somebody who just naturally has a very serious face. Also, generally, I'm going to see the King of Swords to represent someone who is... They're not super tall, but they're not super short. They'd be more like average to tall. You know, like 5'9" to up. You know, that's kind of like the King of Swords that I've personally seen as a tarot reader, and how the cards express themselves to me. Also, generally, very, like a balanced face. Like, I don't know how else to explain that. But, you know, sometimes people, and this is not a diss, I'm just describing people. You know, sometimes people have, like, faces that are a little bit more asymmetrical, like, maybe their nose is off-centered, or, like, their lips, or something like that. Or, like, one eyebrow kind of, like, goes up. when I see the King of Swords, generally that's going to be somebody who's a bit more symmetrical rather than asymmetrical. So I do want to say that when it comes to the face and all of that jazz. But very, very diplomatic person, very disciplined, has a lot of leadership qualities. They definitely know how to plan a date, you know, like for sure. You don't have to worry about that if you ever had those worries. And they have a strong sense of their future. Now, if we're talking about like what their intentions, what they're looking for, this is where it gets a little interesting, because this Ace of Pentacles reverse tells me that there's something about their past. There's something about their past that they're holding on to. Because when we talk about the Ace of Pentacles reverse, it's like nothing's changing. There's no new start. There's not potential for commitment or coming together or stability. Like it's not something you're building a foundation on. It's something that needs to be revisited and adjusted. And so when we're looking at that in the context of, you know, what are their intentions to this relationship, I feel like they're still thinking through their own intentions. And I think that makes a lot of sense following this Four of Swords card, right? Four of Swords, the card of rest and reflection and thinking things through. They're still trying to figure it out, okay? And that is the part that maybe you're a little bit concerned with, and you're just like, and I'm talking about for the people who are single, you know. If you're in a relationship, you know, that's kind of strange that they're trying to figure it out. But, you know, there's all types of people out there. So, but what I see here is there's still some groundwork needing to be done, right? They may not know what they can realistically have to offer within a relationship. Sometimes it can come across as low self-esteem. They may feel as if there's something in the past that they need to address. They may also feel like they're not in a stable enough place in their life, or maybe they aren't as open to receiving more responsibilities, with the relationship being responsibility. You know, it's very guarded, very analytical. I think they're leaning more into the over-analytical, over-protective side of that King of Swords, which is interesting because, like I said, when you meet them, they're a little bit more laid back and relaxed. So I do find that to be quite interesting. But to me, it definitely feels like avoiding commitment or avoiding something that is long-term. Now, if you're already in a relationship, then it's possibly that they're pausing before they take that next step and that next move. Like, let's say you're looking to get engaged, or you want to get married, or you want to move in, or whatever the case may be. But they might be pausing to say, okay, I want to actually make sure that I get this promotion, or I lock in this job change before we move to that next stage in our relationship. Or maybe they haven't thought that deeply about marriage. Like, you know how some people are. Or they might not even thought that far about their future. But whatever the case it may be, is that they are reevaluating things. That is very clear no matter what the person. I'm throwing circumstances out there, but the overall message is they're slow to really commit to that next level, or just for some people, generally commit. You know, that Ace of Pentacles, when it's upright, it's about investing in something. And so when it's reversed, it's like slow to invest, delayed investment, or just not investing at all, right? It's interesting that we got this Mars and Saturn energy. And I think Mars and Saturn energy might be trining in the sky. And I'll be honest, maybe I shouldn't say this as somebody who's like really into astrology, does a lot of astrology research for years. I can't stand when Mars and Saturn come together. I really can't, because there's always something that can be very turbulent, messy, And there's a lot of things going on right now when it comes to some violence going on in the world. I mean, there always is. But I know for sure when I see Mars and Saturn come together, that it's generally going to bring about some news that's not necessarily all that great. And then it also can bring about a little bit of like delays, frustrations with things. It's like you want to take action or you want to move forward, but things are like so slow. I guess I'm repeating some of the same things. What I did with that Ace of Pentacles reversed. And that's kind of the vibes, you know. Within a relationship, worst case scenario, this is like, you know, a bit of a power struggle. Like I said, when Mars and Saturn come together, Mars is this energy that doesn't like to be controlled or contained. They want to sever. They want to do this. But I will say this. It's like Mars does actually like the planet Saturn. But Saturn can't stand Mars. Think about it. Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn. Saturn is debilitated within Aries. You know, so it's interesting dynamic here. And so what Mars gets out of this relationship is more discipline, more focus. What Saturn gets out of the relationship is chaos and stress. And so it may even feel like one person might even be benefiting a little bit more in the relationship than others, or some things that need to be rebalanced within this dynamic. That's not for all of you, for sure. That may be for some of you. But there is some good things that are happening here within this relationship, is that you can have the serious conversations. And there's really no avoiding it when it comes to this relationship. If we're talking about what happens next, what happens next is around this time next year, you guys start thinking about having those serious talks, like having more of a shift in terms of your relationship. Mars and Saturn comes together, represents a transformation. Like what isn't working within my life? What do I need to cut out? What do I need to change? What I need to transform? And you're thinking about this in the context of being single or being together with someone or even dating someone. So around this time next year, you're thinking about some decisions in regarding that, because we do know that Mars wants to take action and Saturn wants that seriousness, that discipline, that organization, that focus. And so you're like, if it's not committed, it's got to go, right? Or if it's not making sense, then we have to move on. And so that's the kind of place that you might even be at when it comes to dating or within a relationship. Even if you're casually seeing someone, you might just say, hey, I don't know where this is going. So I think I actually might want to pull away. I think I actually want to do something different. Or, you know, I'm open to considering other people. I don't think I want to commit to this relationship, you know. Something along the mindset of that. Now, if you're completely single, which, you know, I feel like most of you are not. I feel like you're dating at least someone or talking to someone. But I'll just throw this out there for those of you who may be in this completely single place, which I don't think. But I really feel as though this is a time where you're like, all right, I've got to make a decision. Do I want to jump back into the dating scene, or do I want to stay in this place where it's like Four of Swords, resting, not doing anything? Like, I don't want to engage in that way, just because I don't want to deal with all of those challenges that come with dating. So that's where you'll be at next year, contemplating something like that. But that is what I have for you, pile number one. Hopefully this resonates. If not, you know, feel free to choose a new pile or a new reader. Either way, I'm happy to stop by. Don't mind the energy of the cards, guys. Like, trust me, it's just tarot. It's just astrology. You can do whatever you want. It's your life. You know, all of the disclaimers. All right. I don't need anyone upset in my comment section, right? So if you want a private reading from me, link is in the description bar below. If you want to just ask me a random question on the lives, you can come join the lives. Also during the lives, we do the weekly collective. That means we just come and see like what's going to happen for us, like what's coming down, so we can know what's coming down the pipeline and what can we expect from the week ahead. So be on the lookout for that. Also, if you want to join the memberships and you really like the week aheads, or you like knowing what's coming next in terms of like monthly readings, yearly readings, for sure, join the membership. That is where I go for that type of predictive style reading. And that is what I have for you guys, and I'm going to end it there. Oh, wow. Hey, pal. Number 2, let's get into your love life by next Christmas here. We have the Oracle of Clouds. We have the 5 of Pentacles reverse. We have the 3 of Swords reverse. We have the 2 of Wands. And we have Venus and Saturn coming together. And let me look at this, guys. Let's look at this. Let's look at this energy here. So when we see these cards coming together like this, my automatic thought was, I feel like you guys will be single by this time next year. And I hope that's not hurtful to say or anything. Like if you had different expectations, or if you had your hopes in another direction, or, you know, I know we all want what love, right? But the reason I say this is because we have this 3 of Swords reversed. We have this 5 of Pentacles reversed. And these are places that are coming out of challenging circumstances. These are placements that are coming out of disappointment and hurt and pain. And it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm loving it here. I'm in a beautiful, fulfilling relationship. Now, if you are in a relationship, then you're definitely coming out of a stage in that relationship where you guys have been through some troubles, right? That 3 of Swords is all about releasing the heartache, releasing the pain. And here on the Astro-Tarot deck, I don't know if you can see this well, but you have the 2 people who are originally kind of in the cold, and then you have another woman joining them outside in the cold. So it's like more people are impoverished together. It's a whole community of them now, unfortunately. And times are rough. Times are tough. And so for me, it feels as if this is kind of saying that things have been extra rough when it comes to the dating life and what has happened and where you have been at. And even the expectations that you've had, they've probably gone unmet, or even some needs have been unmet. Especially when we talk about the 5 of Pentacles reversed, or, I mean, upright. Reverse, it's like, okay, things are starting to shift. Either you're just coming out of this place where you're like, I'm stepping out of the streets. You know, I dipped my toes in, and it was a mess, and and now I'm getting off the field, like here. That's the kind of vibes this is giving. So I just want to know that. And another reason I have a strong feeling, a very strong feeling is that you'll be single, is that we have the Saturn and Venus coming together. And when you talk about this energy, it's very much Dua Lipa, New Rules, you know. Your love's being filtered through this lens of boundaries and restraint and discipline. And this is what I expect. And if you don't give this to me, or if you're not behaving this way, it's not going to happen. Saturn and Venus coming together is like, hey, I run a tight ship. I run a strict program. It's very serious when those energies collide. And I generally see that, right? Like when women or men too, when they get to this place where it feels like heartbreak or rock bottom or tough times, or just the love life's just not loving, you know, they adjust their perspectives. And I'm sure you guys see it all the time, right? On social media, where they're just like, I'm coming with a new program, I'm strict now, I've got new boundaries, I've got new rules. That's you next year around this time. And you have this new optimistic outlook when it comes to love, because you know that you have a better understanding of yourself, you have a better understanding of what you need, and you're 100% no longer going to be settling for less. The 2 of Wands is someone who kind of already has one foot out the door, pretty much. They're here physically, but mentally, they're checked out. They're about to move on. And so I feel like you're moving through your love life with that type of attitude. Like, hey, if things aren't right here, if things aren't going well, I'm already ready to bounce. You know, that's the kind of vibe. So if we're talking about who's coming towards you, this spell's not as clear, all right? I'm going to be honest with you. You know, just as a reader, the energy coming towards you is a bit mixed. And I say that because when we talk about these cards here, maybe we can point to the Oracle of Clouds, which is kind of like the Queen of Swords in a way. And you could probably say that this person is going to be very perceptive. Oh, this is on the card. Perceptive, observant, knowledgeable. Generally, I'll get the Queen of Swords to represent highly educated, meaning like bachelor's, master's, PhD, someone who has a very professional field, job, whatever the case may be. And they're very strategic in how they move. So that is part of the energy coming towards you, but it's not, I'm going to be honest, this pile's not giving as much characteristics as the other ones, but I was going into something earlier with the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands can represent someone who is a leader, someone who has to take charge, someone who has to go about and doing their own thing. Trust me, I've seen the Two of Wands all the time. It's not just waiting. I remember pulling it one time, reversed actually, for someone, and it had come up for, essentially, they had been working very, very hard, and they were hoping that some things could be done so that they no longer were in this position. And so I saw the Two of Wands come up reversed, and I said, okay, like, this definitely represents if you've been in a leadership position, you're stepping out of it. You know, you're stepping out of it and you're receiving more support. So when we think about the Two of Wands reversed being receiving more support, if in its upright position, you're handling everything. You're taking care of business. And not only that, but the Two of Wands represents going your own path, going on your own unique journey, going the road less traveled. And so you might be attracting that type of energy as well. Very long story just to say that, but I wanted to have it stick in your brain of what you might be coming in for you. If we talk about intentions, like I said, this pile in particular is more focused on your feelings, but because you're being so tight with the program you run here, you may attract a lot of different energies, but you're only going to accept those who are serious, who want something committed, who want something lasting, who want something long-term, whose energy who is somebody you can build a future with, someone who has discipline, someone who is fair, someone who is thoughtful, someone who puts an effort towards relationships, who wants to grow and continue to build. The thing about when you see Saturn and Venus together, yeah, for some it can dry out the love life, but another positive thing that you can see with Saturn and Venus coming together is that because Saturn is like this natural self-improver, and it's like we always can do better, we always can do better, we always can do better. When it comes to love, it always wants to do better when it comes to love. And so this is indicating a level up, right? And the energy that you're attracting, like you're moving from stage to stage. It's like the more people you date, let's say and this is an example. This is probably not going on at all. I'm just giving an example. It's the first thing I can think of. Let's say like you're dating someone and they don't have a car. Doesn't work out with them. Next person you date, they have a car. Next person you date, they have a house. Next person you date, they have 2 houses. And this is what I mean. It's like a constant level up. And I'm talking more material, but it doesn't have to be that way. You could date someone and they are very emotionally under-evolved. And then you date someone who's a little bit more emotionally intelligent. And then you date someone who's highly emotionally intelligent, and so on and so on. But it's about leveling up, and that's what's happening. That's where your mindset is at. And that's how you're moving come this time next Christmas. So there's not too much to expand beyond that, guys, and I don't want to keep repeating the same thing over, but just know that you're in the space of level up in terms of how you're moving towards your love life and how you are creating strong boundaries for yourself, You are healing from any disappointments that may have gone on in the past, or maybe even future disappointments, but whatever. It doesn't matter, because it's making you move smart. You have a sense of clarity. You're strong. You're capable. And I love seeing Saturn and Venus come together, because in some regards, this is a bit of a glow up as well for you guys in your relationship, just doing better overall. And it just feels good. It just feels like you're in a better place. You know, you're patiently waiting for the right person to come in. You're not going to rush into anything. You're like, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, don't care. And so that's what's happening for you. So if you liked my reading style, feel free to get a private reading from me. I would definitely love to read you. I love doing your birth charts. I think my birth charts are way more popular in terms of readings. Like, ironically enough, as a tarot channel here, well, predominantly tarot. I am trying to do my balance. But yeah, people love the birth chart readings. People love the astrology. And then also, you guys, if you just want to ask me a simple question, I am offering that during the lives. You can do that. Join the lives. There is a deal coming up. It should still be going on by the time this video is premiere, where I am offering 30% off of the private readings. So be sure to check that out, because it will end soon. And I think that is everything I want you guys to know. Join the lives, watch the shorts, come back next week, you know, come to the community tab, vote on the polls, and become a member, right? If you want to see more like content where I'm doing predictive, look ahead, 7 days ahead, a week ahead, month ahead, yearlies, like, come on and join, and you'll see all of that content and get an understanding of what is going to be unfolding for you coming soon. I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but you'll see what's unfolding. And that is all I have for you guys. Au revoir. Hey pal, number 3. Let's get into your love life by next Christmas. We have the 6 of Wands, or 6 of Lightning, Victory. This will be reversed. We have the 10 of Cups reversed. We have the 10 of Wands reversed. We have the 6 of Swords. And we have Neptune. Alright, so when we think about how your love life is going to be by next Christmas, like, will you be single? Will you be in a relationship? The thing is, when we look at the 6 of Cups Lightning, or 6 of Wands Lightning Victory, for sure, the opportunity for being in a relationship is there. This trophy that is being shined on, or having this emphasis on, there's a bunch of lightning bolts around this trophy here. It's emphasizing the fact that you are kind of being seen as the prize. I mean, not kind of, you are being seen in this manner. You're seen as somebody successful. You're seen as somebody talented. You're seen as somebody who's beautiful and transformative. Like, you just have a lot of positive qualities to you, for sure. Like, people notice that. But when it comes to being in a relationship, you know, it's not saying yes or no. It's saying it's up to you, you know, because you have your pick of the litter here, especially when we talk about the 6 of Lightning Victory. The 10 of Wands on the Astro-Tarot deck, they have just enjoyed a beautiful day out. Remember, the rainbow was in the sky and everything was beautiful and fantastic. When we talk about it on the Astro-Tarot deck, it's nighttime, the sky is fallen, they're still having some time together, they're even more snuggled in and building more memories together. But when the 10 of Cups is in this reverse decision, it almost feels as if there's a little bit of something missing. So maybe in this photo, maybe the dog got lost or something like that, or maybe someone got sick and then they had to go home. You know, it's like something is impending on this happy ever after ending going on here. And there could be a lot of reasons that this is happening. Maybe you're meeting people And you do, like I said, you have a lot of people who are interested, but they're not exactly meeting up to all of the standards or qualities that you would like within a relationship. Or maybe there's something a little bit off about them that can show up in this way as well. Or maybe you're just not quite ready to settle down. Or, positives, you are needing to have conversations about the future with a certain individual or certain individuals, depending. This pile is very ambiguous on whether or not you guys want to settle down. But I really do feel as though by this time next year, you're looking to have those conversations about what does the future look like. Like, if you're with someone, and I mean, I would assume you're at least dating, just given that Six of Lightning. Or if you're dating someone, you're trying to get an understanding of how they're viewing the future. Does it look like how you imagine it? We have this Neptune energy going on here. Right? And when we talk about Neptune energy, it can represent being a little bit of overly ambitious, or sometimes, what's the word for it? It can represent being in the space where you haven't quite made those dreams a reality yet. Because we don't have any pinnacles in this spread, right? There's nothing here suggesting tangibility or foundation or something solid. And when I look at that, to me, it comes in to say that, okay, there are some adjustments needing to be made in your love life so that the things that you want, the things that you desire, actually truly come to fruition. And I think that's kind of in the headspace that you'll be in next year, whether you're in a relationship or whether you're dating. And like I said, you guys, you know, you have plenty of people who want access to your time, your energy, and who would love for you to, would love to be seen with you, would love to be with you. But you don't want to force it. You're in this mindset where you're just like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, but I'm not going to force a situation if this person is not the right one for me. You know, no ambiguity, no make it work, none of that. You know, none of that forced intimacy. Like, it's just, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Right? This is where you're at. And so I feel like this time next year, you might realize that you need to be clearer and communicate clearer to the people about what it is that you're looking for, or even maybe you have been clear, but you have been, I'll say, entertaining people who don't really have a future with you. And it's because maybe they've been very flattering, or maybe they have been someone who recognized that you were incredible and amazing and someone that they wanted to be with. But when we see this Ten of Wands reverse, it's like, oh, I've given up on this. This is not even worth all the effort. This is not worth the headache. I don't want to deal with this. Ten of Cups is just like, oh no, I don't think I see a future with this, you know, person, or etc. Da, da, da. Or, like I said, for some of you, it represents, we need to have a conversation because this relationship can't go on the way it's going on if you're in a relationship. Because this pile can really go either way. If we look at what's going to happen here, is that you're definitely talking about even ending situations where there's confusion, because we're getting out of the rough waters with the Six of Swords. Sorry, the Six of Swords here. Don't know if you can see it, but on the card you can see the rocky waters. And then on this side, you see the smooth waters, right? Very beautifully depicted. And so you're getting out of these rocky waters and you're moving to a place that's more sustainable, where there's more follow through, where there's more reliability, where there's something that it's less romanticized or less about envisioning or false promises or, you know, future faking or whatever the case may be. And you're going towards something more solid. You're heading towards solid ground by this time next year, for sure. If we look at, you know, who's coming in towards you, you have a mixture of characters coming in towards you. Because Neptune energy, I'll say this, it wants to bring about people who are, I think I mentioned, highly ambitious. It wants to bring about people who are, at the same time, you have people who are the highly ambitious type, but then you have the people who are like dreamers and like people who maybe they are on the outskirts of society, or they're not normally accepted within, I don't know, they're not normally accepted by others, or like, because Neptune can represent outcasts, so that's a possibility. It's interesting. Neptune's energy is like either you're a doctor or, you know, you're homeless. I'm not kidding. It's so extreme. It's such an extreme planet. But you're attracting people high and low, and it's because they know that you are the person. You're that person. You're that girl. You're that guy, whatever. They know they're coming towards you because of that. So without a doubt, you're attracting all sorts of individuals, and it may feel like you're attracting extremes. So I do want you to be aware of that. But these can be really great extremes, or these can be like, you know what? I think I'm going to avoid this person extreme. I think the people you are attracting, though, do want something committed. But it's almost as if even they don't know what the road to commitment looks like. You know, you have some people who maybe they have this strong vision of their future, but they haven't thought to consider, okay, my partner, what does their future look like to them? And so it becomes about trying to merge the futures, kind of what I was saying earlier. I don't want to repeat myself, but this time next year, if you're dating someone, then it's about trying to understand how your futures come together. What does it look like? Whether that be someone who is more on the, you know, I'm just a dreamer, I've never really thought about things, let's take things as it goes, da da da. They've never envisioned a future, or whether it's the, you know, I'm a lawyer, I've got the next 5 years planned. They may have envisioned a future, but they haven't taken into account, you know, everything that maybe their partner would want, or how that looks when you blend dreams together. And so the next stage where you'll be at in your love life becomes about how can we blend each other's dreams. And I guess now the Neptune makes even more sense. Your dreams and their dreams, right? And that's kind of where it is like next year. But I do see some fantastic, really romantic moments. Like Neptune is this planet of unrealism and dreams and fantasy and the wildest, most unbelievable things happening. It's about, you know, discovering like strong, beautiful connections, trying to follow your intuition, follow your heart, and form something that is absolutely beautiful. Like, how can our dreams coexist together? How can we make sure that neither one of us are shrinking ourselves, or that it makes sense for both of us? You know, the attraction may be strong, but, you know, visions don't automatically just merge like that. That's pretty rare. You know, there's more practicality that's going to be had. And definitely a lot of romance, definitely a lot of free-flowing energy, definitely something that feels fantastical, that feels, what's the word, deeply connected. It feels mystical. There's an element of like, we've created our own love story type of vibe when you see Neptune here. Or we're in our own lane. This is the type of vibe you get with Neptune energy. But that's what I have for you, pal. Number 3. Hopefully this resonates. If not, feel free to choose a new pile. You know, if you're looking for something like an engagement or anything like that, this is within the realm of possibility, but there's definitely going to be you definitely need to have some conversations about like, what does that look like down the line? Like, what exactly are you picturing? Where do you want to live? What does work-life balance look like? What does travel look like? What are long-term, you know, priorities? So those are the conversations that you guys might be having as well, for those of you in the relationships. But if you like my reading style, feel free to get a private reading by me. I do astrological readings, generally Vedic chart, but you can request Western. I do tarot readings as well. By the time this video is up, I believe it should be, I should be offering 30% off. So you might want to check that out. And then also, if you want to just catch me live and ask me a question there, I go live generally on the weekends here. That is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I don't know, guys, I think that's it for me. Like, I don't got nothing to add for you. You know, that's it. I mean, I'm wishing you the best of luck. There's a lot of beauty here. Don't get caught up in the things that I say that might be a little uncomfortable, but I just want to give you guys the full picture of like where you're at, you know, who's around you, etc. I just want to give the full vibes, right? But if that's not for you, you know, feel free to choose a new pal, new reader. Either way, I'm very happy to stop by, and au revoir. Hey, pal, number 4. Let's see, you know, where your love life will be by next Christmas, this time next year. We have the 17, the Star, Rejuvenation. We have the 7 of Wands on the Astro-Tarot deck. We have the World card. We have the Judgment card. It wants to come out reversed for some reason. And we have the Mercury and Mars combo coming together. Activate the conversation. Activate the activities. So when I'm looking at this combination of cards here, one thing that we talk about, whether you're single, within a relationship, etc. One thing's for certain is that for me, when I'm looking at the Star card, there's a lot of focus when it comes on, I guess, healing. I've gotten the Star card to represent just taking some time off to evaluate, to nest, to just recover. I've seen it for, you know, mental health days, or even less sick days, more so vacation. And so I think when I look at these cards, it is leaning a little bit more towards single. Because if we're talking about rejuvenation, yeah, you can rejuvenate with someone, but it's usually more so of a solo activity. You know what I mean? Like, at least from what I've seen, when people say I'm going to go on a retreat, or, you know, I'm going to connect to myself spiritually, or, you know, I'm going to just take a moment to pause. It's usually more of a solo mission, right? And so this is where I feel as though the energy is coming into play. That more than likely this time next year, you're going to be in a single headspace, or just single vibes, whatever the case may be. But that's kind of what I see unfolding for you here. All right. Hopefully that is not upsetting news or anything like that. That is never my goal. I am not some bitter person who wants people to be miserable. But yeah, that's generally what I see when I see these cards come together. Now, if we look at this Mars-Mercury energy going on in the sky, well, then we're talking about possibly making decisions to talk to someone, to date. The thing about Mercury is it's a fast-moving planet. And so you'll see Mercury known for like dating a lot, or being in a lot of different relationships. Think Elizabeth Taylor, a lot of different divorces, connections. Think, you know, Taylor Swift, also known for her lots of her different dating experiences and like that. Very mercurial vibes. It's like I'm here dating this person, I'm dating this person. Even Kim Kardashian, mercurial person, has a lot of different marriages now, right? You know, if she gets married again, then I guess it's like, wow, like that's very unusual. But as we're saying, that Mercury energy is representative of having a lot of different suitors or people that you're entertaining or people that you want to get to know or connect with and things like that, especially with that Mars ruled energy coming together. It's being very proactive about these things and wanting to make these connections. So that is what I want to say in regards to that. Now, if we talk about the people that are coming into your life, man, you've got some people who are pretty headstrong and very competitive, which can be really great because the World card is indicating that they have that sense of success going on because they know how to remain competitive. They know what it takes to be on top, to accomplish their goals, to make sure that they handle business. Like if you look at these cards here with the Seven of Wands, he's coming off of his sort of pedestal or high, I don't know what, he was kind of like on a hill. He was above everyone else, right? Because he had just won. He was a Six of Wands. He just won something. You got the jealous people, the Seven of Wands. They're coming for a spot. Seven of Wands coming back off the hill and said, let me show you what I got again. You know what I mean? Let me show you how I got the prize the first time, right? So this person already has a lot of things going for them, and they're aiming to achieve more. They're still wanting to climb that ladder. Just the other day, I met someone, a very highly successful young man, and even he was kind of in this place where he wanted to achieve more. He was being motivated by, you know, other people around him achieving even more success, but he was pretty successful for being very young, like six figures, whatever, well under the age of 25, etc. And that's kind of like this energy here. It's very much like I've already achieved a lot, but I want to achieve even more. Okay, I want to be even more successful. I want to show the world what I've got over and over again. You know, they're not someone who is complacent. If that's what that's the energy you're definitely not attracting. All right, so I want you to know that that is the energy as you move forward. Okay. Someone who has some titles, some strong income, some level of recognition, some status, maybe even just internal or external pressure. I think it's more internal though. To keep up, to catch up, to push forward, to keep going, whatever the case may be. Like that's kind of who they are. And so you might even find them in very high stakes circles or circles that are just like people who are very accomplished. Maybe they're highly educated, you know, maybe they've gone to, you know, Ivy League schools, you know, well-paying jobs, etc. You know, all of that jazz, well-traveled. You'll see that with this World card here. But this is all of the things that I'm seeing when I look at these cards. It's very much like, it's very much I want to conquer. I mean, that's the vibes, okay? And so if we're looking at their intentions for you, this is interesting. Because the World card, I can generally get to represent that, you know, they're seeing things from a place of, can I build a life with someone? But then we also have this Judgment card here. And it's in the reverse position. And the Judgment card can be about being stuck in a transition state. In a way, it reminds me of the Hangman, of being in a little bit like in limbo or purgatory. That type of feeling of not moving forward. And I wonder if there's this feeling within them of wanting to have this beautiful, incredible relationship, but then at the same time, there's some things from their past that needs to be addressed. And that could make sense with Mercury and Mars too. because Mars connects a lot to the past, and you'll see a lot of movies and TV shows, or even just real life. You'll see a lot of Mars rule people kind of want to get back with their ex. Not saying that this is happening, not saying that that's happening, but Mars rule movies and stuff, they'll talk about time traveling. So there's this thought process of ruminating on there's this connection to ruminating on the past. And so for them, they might have a little bit of unfinished business or some things that they need to wrap up before they can move forward. Doesn't necessarily mean a relationship. You know, there's other things that could be at play, but I do want to say that there was another pile that was similar in that manner. But I can't ignore this Judgment card, and that's, you know, it's not exactly moving to a different stage. It's like they want to move to that different stage, but then there's something holding them back. You know, there's something there. It's very much like, oh, I should have handled this situation differently. Or maybe it's kind of like that saying, once bitten, twice shy, right? So maybe I've been scarred in relationships and I want to move forward, but it's hard for me, right? Something like that. Maybe they're replaying old relationships in their head, old arguments, things that aren't necessarily related to you, but things that have maybe left scars on them through their relationships, or that rely on their brain, that lay on their brain. When I see Mars and Mercury, you can kind of read it as Mars in the 3rd house, or even just Mars in Gemini. And what that means is, like, where does your mind go? Like, what's on your mind? How does that work? And Mars in Gemini, Mars conjunct Mercury, Mars aspect Mercury, Mars in the 3rd house, it means your mind goes to places that are a little bit turbulent, because Mars is known for being a malefic. So a lot of your thoughts can be anxiety-ridden, depression, flashbacks to being like bullied, you know, things like that. Flashbacks to times where you felt powerless, or where you felt insecure, or scared, or you know, it's like your mind goes to these places that are challenging. So I just want you to know that. So it's less about you and more about this person's mental state. And we're focusing a lot on this person's mental state. And trust you, I'm not doing this with every single pile. Like, particular you guys, pile number 4, because there's something unresolved going on with them. It might be bleeding into the relationship, but let's move on. I'm sure you guys don't even want to hear that. But honestly, I do think that they are serious about their intentions and all of that. I just wanted to get into the context of why they might be holding back somewhat. So when we think about what is going to happen next, well, honestly, you know, how things unfold and how things might play out is that they're going to have to address these things, more than likely in the form of a conversation. You guys are going to have some deep heart-to-heart conversations. Remember, Mars does rule Scorpio, and so this can be read as like Mercury and Scorpio, or, you know, scorpionic vibes here when it comes to the conversation-wise. And I feel like there's going to be some open and vulnerable moments, and they're going to have to learn to revisit the past and forgive and forget, so that they can move forward and transition into the next phase. And like I said, it may not even be a particular person, just maybe a type that you're attracting. And sometimes we get into those stages in their life, we're like, why are we attracting this energy? Okay, now that, I don't know, that might be another reading for another day, but you will be attracting this energy by this time next year. You yourself will be in a pretty good place. I'm not going to lie. You, like I said, you're in this rejuvenation mode. You're healing. You're peaceful. You're taking time. As I've said before, I've gotten the star card to represent like these periods of recovery. I mean, rejuvenation is pretty accurate. These time periods away from heavy responsibilities and heavy works and all of that jazz. And you're just taking time to make sure that you're good. So honestly, this time period next year, you're actually in a good place mentally. Or you are starting to recover and get to that good place, you know. That's what I see here when I'm looking at these cards. And I really do feel like you're attracting that successful energy, but there's just that emotional world that needs to be addressed. But I really do feel like there's a lot of potential for beautiful connections to form around you. You know, where you're in a space where you're less selective, not less selective, you're less in a rush, and so you're more selective about who you're letting access your space. You're not really absorbing this type of energy. You're just kind of observing it, because the star card is representative of, like, you know, distance. Like, you know, you're just observing the energy. You're not like taking it in. So you're calmer. You have a sense of mental clarity. You're well rested. You know, your skin's looking good. You're glowing. I like the star card. And you're just like, oh, you know what? You're a great person. Blah, da, da, da. But you might need to work through some things. But like I said, you are attracting people who are very accomplished. For sure. For sure. Curious people, ambitious people, people who a lot of people would say, oh my gosh, you're with so-and-so, right? You know, that's the kind of vibes you're attracting. And if you are in a relationship, I suggest you choose a new pile, because honestly, of all the piles here, I'm more positive, or leaning at least 90% would be more single. So I think, you know, choose a different relationship, etc. in your life. If you're looking for, like, you know, whether you're moving in with someone, like I said, the star card is very distance. It's very much like, I'm not committing to anything. Like, I'm here for my own kind of thing going on. So, like, you're gonna have to choose a new pile for that. But that is what I have for you, pile number 4. Hopefully this resonates. If not, you know, feel free to choose a new pile, new reader. You know, maybe I'm not your style. That's okay. And if, you know, as I've said in the beginning, if you're looking for someone who's kind of being more validating or comforting or da-da-da-da, you know, I've got fire sign energy, guys. You know, I'm pretty blunt. So that's the energy I'm coming from. And I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings or something. I truly am. But that's where I'm coming from. And I do wish you the best. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Private readings, 30% off right now. Also, I do astrology readings, of course. Like, honestly, one of the most popular ones. Birth chart readings, probably more popular than the tarot. And also, if you want to just catch me live, ask a question there. I go live on the weekends, time posted on the community tab. Yeah, that's it. You know, that's it. I'll see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, my beautiful pal, number 5. Let's get into your love life by next Christmas. What's coming for you? We have the 2 of Gems, priorities. We have the 6 of Pentacles on the After Tarot deck. They're giving to even more people. We have the Hanged Man. We have the Page of Swords, and we have Pluto and Venus coming together. Whoop, 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 whoop. So let's look into this. One thing we want to see is if you're single, if you're in a relationship, like, what is going on here? If I look at this 2 of Pentacles, I quite often get this card to represent very non-committal energy. And so if you're wondering if you are in this relationship, or if you found someone, or etc., it's not that you can't find anyone, because this energy doesn't give struggle. If anything, it's giving, you know, I am taking my time to really find someone who I truly connect with. Like, you're the one leading the charge here. Like it says on the card, it's about priorities. And so if you do so choose to prioritize your love life, which, looking at these cards, you know, to me, it feels like you might have some things that you prefer to be focused on more so, you know. That is what I'm looking at here. When I look at this Venus and Pluto energy, generally, I will see people with this placement who sort of break the mold when it comes to love life and expectations, meaning like they might be unmarried in their late 50s, or they might, if they're a woman, they might date younger, you know, etc. But the whole point is they aren't going to stick to the standards, which makes sense. You know, Pluto represents anything that is anyway atypical. You know, it doesn't have to be typical. It doesn't have to be taboo or anything. It just means like, okay, this is not the baseline norm for things. And so when I'm looking at how you're structuring things, and given that our society heavily emphasizes those romantic connections, for me, it feels as though you instead are emphasizing something a bit different. And I think the prioritization becomes about not just self-discovery, but more so spiritual evolution. I know, of course, I'm going to say this as a tarot reader, but I really do feel like that is the main focus. You're focused on things like building wealth or helping others, like you see on this 9 of Pentacles card here, or making sacrifices for your future, which the Hangman is connected to. And so when we talk about where you're at by next Christmas, you're in a place where you're focused on non-romantic pursuits, to be completely honest. But that's not to say, as I was trying to go into before, that you won't attract anyone. This Venusian-Pluto energy is a very seductive force. I've seen people like Tracy Ellis Ross have it, Sanaa Lathan. And as you can see, yeah, they do fit that Venus-Pluto mold of not being the typical, hey, I'm married, I have kids, boom. You know, I think Tracy Ellis Ross just went viral a couple of months ago for saying, I date younger men, right? Like, she dates guys in her 30s or something. I'm not sure how old she is. Maybe she's in her 50s. But whatever. And so you see how it becomes about not feeling this need to conform to the expectations of society. So if you are a bit older, maybe in your 30s, and you're like, see the people around you getting married, or maybe even some people getting divorced or having kids, this is you prioritizing something different, okay? You're investing in your assets, you're investing in career moves, you're investing in income streams, you're prioritizing things that expand your inner world, like learning and studying, journaling, crafting, refining a worldview, looking at things from a different perspective. Like, this is very much intentional. Now, if you are dating, as I mentioned before at the start of this reading, it is very non-committal. And also, if we think about who is coming towards you in terms of this energy and what exactly this person may have to offer, well, we look about this Venus and Pluto energy, and the thing that I notice about when Venus and Pluto comes together is that it definitely can represent attracting a lot of power, wealth. I mean, both of these cards connect to wealth and money, let's be honest. And then we have this 6 of Pentacles here. So it's like, not only have they gotten money to spare for maybe certain groups of people, but now they have even more. Like, there's an accumulation of wealth. It's a lot more on this, on the After Tarot deck, so you can get a better look. I don't know if I'm actually articulating that correctly. You see that the first couple, or the first group of people, have collected, I'm not even sure what he's giving out, coins, money, yeah, have collected their coins, and now they're moving on to the second group. And this person doesn't seem to even really think about it. They're still holding that scale of balance. So they have more than enough to give. So you're attracting that type of energy if you're thinking about, like, okay, am I at least getting some people with money or stability? For sure, you're attracting a lot of stable people. It's just a matter of, do you want to commit to the people that you are attracting here? And if we're thinking about, like, the looks, the personalities, like, the Hangman is very much in line with the 6 of Pentacles energy, where the energy is very much about giving towards others. Both of these cards connect to charity. The Hangman connects to Pisces, which connects to the house of giving and the loss of resources, aka charity. Six of Pentacles, also a very charitable card, as we've just discussed. And so you are attracting people who are like this, who are giving, who will look out for others, who have a very humanitarian side to them. That's the type of energy that is coming in. They're going to also be people who have a strong creative side, strong passionate side, very sociable animals. When we talk about this Venus and Pluto energy, we're talking about someone who might, you know, pay for meals, quietly pay for meals, cover the friend's bill, help a coworker without expectation, give the food bank, shelters, what else, donate. You know, all of these situations is the type of vibe that they're coming across as, listening to conversations, being fair. The Six of Pentacles, I often get for someone who not only listens to what people have to say, but they give a very balanced perspective. And because we have this on the After Tarot deck, it shows that they have a lot of experience, not just personally, but they learn from other people as well. So we're talking about someone who's deeply supportive. I'll say that. Or people who are deeply supportive and all. I say people because you got that two of Pentacles or that Two of Gems priority. So it seems like more than one going on here when it comes to your love life. One thing I love about the Two of Gems is that it's all about having fun. It's all about having a good time. Hangman is about bringing new perspectives. And so we know that this is a different and a new experience. But like I said, I feel like by this time next Christmas, you're kind of just chilling. Like the Hangman is in this period where it's like, I'm really not in a relationship. The only thing I'm committed to is these goals here and self-reflection and growth and looking towards the future and thinking about all the things that I want to get done and prioritizing things. And in fact, in the weekly collective, we got the Hangman this week, right? And to give you an example, you know, this week has been about prepping for the future for me. You know, it's all about, and I'm just giving my example because I haven't been able to speak to astronauts yet, you know. So to get your perspectives. But for this week, it's all about preparing for the future, structuring these next videos, and particularly for my channel, because if you guys don't know, I keep like a list of videos and all of that stuff, organizing that, prioritizing that list, as well as trying to figure out a good schedule, what needs to come first in terms of life goals, things that need to get done. So the Hangman is like this bird's eye view of what do I need to tackle next, essentially. That's one of the perspectives, right? And so we're looking at this to see, not only is that the type of energy that you're attracting, somebody with a bird's eye view, but that's also kind of the place that you're in your life. It's not exactly that you are neglecting your love life or that you are pulling away from it. It's just that it's just one of those things that you have to figure out, what do you want to prioritize at the moment, because you're going to have a lot going on by this time next year. I will say this, Page of Swords energy, you are open to experiencing new connections. You are very much open to having conversations, being flirtatious. Like I said, this Venusian Pluto energy is very seductive. It's very much like I'm capturing people, I'm enthralling them. There may even be just like a lot of secret admirers. You can get that for Venus and Pluto energy. Very subtle sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes it's not exactly the most balanced energy, which is ironic because Venus is the planet of balance, but it can be either just like this very blatant flirtation, or just very subtle, I'm watching you from afar type of energy, right? Hangman energy, like I'm watching. But either way, the point is you're attracting people. It's just a matter of, do you want to entertain? And I think I've said that a billion times. Page of Swords can indicate that you might be talking to someone, and you're just kind of seeing where that goes. or you're talking to a few people, or whatever the case may be. But like I said, overall, your energy is very much like, hey, I am very much going with the flow. That very, very Two of Gems energy. I'm going with the flow. I'm keeping my options open. I am having a little bit of more personal space. Even if you're being approached people in a teasing way or a playful way, or, you know, people are just thinking of excuses to talk to you, which I think is going to happen. Your mind is buzzing with curiosity around this time. Buzzing with opportunities, buzzing with imagination and creativity and things that you want to tackle and new experiences you want to have. And honestly, you're just in a place where you want to learn and grow and develop and transform. And these are the vibes that are coming for you. And I don't know how else to expand on this, guys, because I did not expect this. Tarot always takes a U-turn for me. If we're talking about like what's happening next, what's unfolding, I think we've summarized it pretty well. You're keeping your options open. You're attracting people who are pretty generous with their time, money, resource, energy, have a pretty thoughtful perspective, great listeners. You may be talking to people, making a few light flirtations, but you're not committing to anything. Some people will have a quiet interest. Some people will think of excuses to talk to you and things like that. I see a lot of like casual flirtation going on here. And you're in this explorer mindset. You really are. I remember getting the Page of Swords for the summer, just my overall summer vibe. And honestly, I was just so entranced with the things I was learning in school. Very Page of Swords, right? I was quite literally the Page of Swords. And I just felt like my brain was being stimulated. It was frustrating sometimes, but my brain was being stimulated. And I feel like your brain is being stimulated in so many different areas by this time next year that your love life is just one of those areas that's like, this is cool, but like there's also some cool things going on here. And I guess that's what I want to say. I'm gonna move on because I don't think there's anything else to expand on at the moment. But it's up to you if you want to lean into it. You know, the cards are saying the opportunity is there and it's up for you if you want to grab it. So that is what I have for you, pal number 5. Hopefully this resonates. If not, you know, feel free to choose a new pal, new reader. Either way, I'm very happy you stopped by. Don't forget, I go live on the weekends, maybe the weekdays now, actually. So I always say weekends, but like school's out, so I might be live on the weekdays. So you got to hit that notification bell and make sure that you stop by the lives. Don't forget to get a private reading. Check out the shorts. Check out the community tab. That's where I make all the announcements. So if you're you might miss out on a few things if you don't show up on that community tab, to be completely honest. And that is all I got to say. And I'll see you next time. Au revoir.